Tonight, the Middle East is closer to total war than ever before. Iran, Israel, America, three powers moving toward collision. But this war didn't begin overnight. To understand this conflict, we need to go back decades. Before 1979, Iran and Israel were actually allies. Then came the Iranian Revolution. Iran transformed into an Islamic republic. And everything changed for Israel. Iran openly opposed Israel's existence. Israel saw Iran as an existential threat. But the biggest fear was nuclear weapons. Israel believed Iran could someday build a bomb. Iran claimed its program was peaceful. The world didn't know who to believe. Then America entered the story. The United States became Israel's strongest ally. Billions of dollars in military support followed. But America had another reason to stay involved. Oil. The Middle East controls some of the world's most important energy routes. Especially one narrow passage, the Strait of Hormuz. A huge percentage of global oil passes through this route. If Iran blocks it, the world economy could suffer instantly. That's why every conflict here affects the entire planet. Then came the nuclear deal. In 2015, Iran agreed to limit nuclear activity. In return, sanctions were lifted. For a moment, tensions cooled. But the peace didn't last. America withdrew from the deal. Iran responded by increasing uranium enrichment again. Israel believed time was running out. Then the region exploded once again. The Israel-Hamas war changed everything. Iran-backed groups across the region became active. Hezbollah prepared near Israel's border. The fear of a wider regional war grew rapidly. Then Israel made a dangerous calculation. Iran looked vulnerable for the first time in years. And Israel decided to strike directly. The attacks targeted nuclear and military facilities. Top Iranian commanders were killed. Iran promised revenge. Then the missiles came. Drones flooded toward Israel. Israel activated the Iron Dome. The world watched in shock. Social media exploded with one phrase. Could this become a global war? Then America entered the fight directly. Washington feared Iran's nuclear sites were too dangerous to ignore. US forces launched major operations. The conflict became truly international. Oil prices surged instantly. Stock markets panicked. Flights across the Middle East were cancelled. Global trade routes faced disruption. Countries everywhere prepared for economic shockwaves. India watched carefully. Because rising oil prices affect billions of people worldwide. But militarily, who was actually winning? Israel had advanced technology and intelligence. Iran had numbers, geography, and proxies. America had overwhelming military force. But long wars are dangerous for everyone. History had already proven that. The biggest fear was escalation. What if Hezbollah joined fully? What if US bases were attacked? What if the Strait of Hormuz closed completely? The world economy could collapse into crisis. That's why world leaders pushed for negotiations. Secret talks reportedly began behind closed doors. Both sides needed a way out. But neither side wanted to appear weak. The war entered a dangerous stalemate. Then came cyber warfare. Power grids and communications became targets. The battlefield was no longer physical alone. And propaganda flooded the internet. Millions struggled to know what was true. Meanwhile, civilians paid the highest price. Entire neighborhoods were devastated. Children grew up surrounded by war. And the world feared what might come next. Could diplomacy stop the conflict? Or was this only the beginning? One thing became clear. This war was about far more than territory. It was about power itself. The consequences could last for decades. Because even if the missiles stop, the damage remains. And the balance of the Middle East may never be the same again. Now the world waits for the next move. Will diplomacy prevail? Will the conflict spread further? Or will history repeat itself once again? Because the next decision could change the world forever. And the future of the Middle East hangs in the balance.